We're live, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and call the City Council meeting to order for Thursday, January 23rd. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show that all members of the City Council are here this evening. We have a couple presentations this evening. The first, we're going to start off with the Alameda County Fire Department presentation. Mr. Benin, did you have any opening comments that you wanted to make?
Not this evening.
Great. Chief, welcome to the city, to the great city of Newark. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Hannon. Thank you, members of the City Council. I'm Willie McDonald, I'm the Alameda County Fire Chief. I'm honored to be here tonight to present you with some background and information about the Newark Fire and Emergency Service and the operation of the Alameda County Fire Department. And I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to be here tonight. And if I'm not a real technology guy, so if I can get this to go, there we go. Okay. In my in my presentation, I will provide information about the City of Newark, fire operations, emergency medical services incident information, response time and outcomes, station locations and activity, and assigned resources. I'll also talk about the Alameda County Fire Department, the communities that we serve, our resources and programs, including the budgets, our employees and stations and our operations, our current initiatives, emergency services, staffing, new programs, building projects, and our strategic plan. I want to start though, let me go back one. I wanted to start with talking about some of the devastating fires that are going on in Southern California and give you all some information about those events. Two of the fires, the most destructive of the fires, started on the same day. They started on January 7th. The Palisades fire started at about 10:30 in the morning. It's consumed by now about 23,000 acres. The Eaton fire started later that afternoon, about 6. Also started on the 7th of January. It's consumed about 14,000 acres. When the fires broke out, ACFD, we deployed a little over 24 firefighters, including command staff members, down to the fire. Right now, we still have 2 companies on OES rigs down there, and we have 3 overhead personnel and 1 USAR rescue technician still in the area. The fire companies are in the staging and a pre-positioned area in the Beaumont area. So we've got a total of about 12 of our Alameda County firefighters still serving in Southern California. While we did not send a Newark unit down to the fire, we did have 3 of our members that are assigned here in Newark down to the fire, so they were part of the initial response. Here in Newark, we staff and operate 3 stations, beginning with Fire Station 27, 39039 Mallory Street. At that station, we have an assigned resource, Engine 27. It's staffed with a fire captain, an engineer, and a firefighter paramedic. And the engine company, what makes it an engine company are 3 things. It's really the basic unit of the fire service. It has a water tank, it has fire hose, and it has a pump to pump up the water from the hydrants that we work with in order to be able to provide a firefighting stream. As I say, it's a basic unit of the fire service. If we could only do one thing, it would be having firefighters on fire engines responding to emergencies. This is Fire Station 28 at 7550 Thornton Avenue. The assigned resource there is a truck. That was actually the crew that was here a little while ago. They went to the same accident that you did. The captain was Jeff Moore, the fire engineer Joe Mosley, and firefighter Patrick Burrell. The truck company's a little larger piece of equipment. It's really a giant toolbox. It has auto extrication tools, forcible entry tool, ventilation equipment, shoring and cribbing materials, and ladders. And it also has, the large aerial device on the top. It's also staffed with a captain, an engineer, and a firefighter paramedic. And then we have Fire Station 29, 35775 Russian Drive. Also staffed, it's staffed with an engine company. It has a captain, engineer, firefighter, paramedic. All of our companies are advanced life support capable. They all have paramedics assigned, and they all have the equipment to be able to provide advanced life support services. Overall in the city, as I say, we had three companies that are located here. Engine 27 responded to about 88 fire calls last year, 925 EMS calls, in a total of over 1,500 requests for emergency services. Truck 28 responded to 82 fires, 1,200 EMS calls, in a total of 2,110 total runs. And Engine 29 is our busiest company here in the city of Newark, responded to a total of 189 fires and 1,200 EMS calls, totaling 2,260 calls for service. So for the total for the city of Newark was 4,520. We also have a deputy chief assigned as a liaison here in the city of Newark. That's Chief Ryan Nishimoto. There are 27 firefighters assigned to the city of Newark. We have a code enforcement officer, and we also are supposed to have a deputy fire marshal here for development review processes. We are currently in the process of trying to fill that position, have them back here in the city. The total operating budget for 24-25, fiscal year 24-25 is $13,737,000. And I'd like to play a video to show some of the operations that we have here in the city.
Creeping through the shadows within. Got nowhere to run or hide. It's in my blood. It's in my blood. I keep on fighting. I keep on running. Keep on searching for the light, for the light. Moving through the past and the lies, whispers in the smoke from the fire. Got nowhere to turn this time. It's all around. It's all around. I keep on fighting. I keep on running. I keep on searching for the light, for the light. I'm not lost, I've seen the light, I've seen the light. I'm not lost, I've seen the light, I've seen the light. I'm not lost, I've seen the light, I've seen the light. I keep on fighting. I keep on running. I keep
All right, got it working. I'd like to provide a little bit of background about myself, introduce myself to especially the new members on the council. I'm a native Californian. I was born and raised in the city of Fresno. I graduated from Cal State University, Fresno. I have a bachelor's degree in biology. My parents wanted me to be a doctor. My grades didn't. I have a master's degree from Cal State University East Bay. It was Hayward back then. I graduated from the Executive Fire Officer Program at the National Fire Academy, Certified Public Manager Program at Arizona State University, and the State Local Government Program at Harvard. I knew early on that I wanted to be a firefighter, and I grew up in a large family with sisters who liked to tell me what to do. So I talked it over with them and became a firefighter in 1978. I was appointed as a fire chief in the city of Foster City in 1993, and I've had the great opportunity to serve as a fire chief in the cities of Scottsdale, and San Jose, and Las Vegas. And I was appointed as a fire chief in the city, in Alameda County here in 2020, so I've been here for just about 5 years, and it has been an honor to serve. The Alameda County Fire Department was organized in 1993. It was a consolidation of three departments here in the county: the Eden Consolidated Fire Department, Castro Valley Fire Protection District, and the County Fire Patrol. We operate out of 27 fire stations. We have 26 engines, 7 truck companies, and everything we have is ALS, all 33 companies. We operate the Alameda County Regional Emergency Communications Center. That's our dispatch center. We provide dispatching services, emergency dispatching services for all of the cities that we serve, and as well Livermore, Pleasanton, the city of Alameda, and we dispatch all the ambulances in the county, and we also provide priority medical dispatching throughout the county. We serve, as I say, we serve all over the county. We organize in the 4 battalions, and so we're really all throughout the county, the north and the south, as well as far out east. Our Battalion 2 is our oldest battalion. It's a geographic area combination of fire stations. It's our oldest battalion. It's really where we started. Our Battalion 3 is Dublin and East Valley and Sunol. Our Battalion 4 is Emeryville, Lawrence Berkeley Lab, and San Leandro. And Battalion 7 is here in Newark, Fire Station 27, 28, and 29, and in Union City, Station 31, 32, and 33. So we cover about 508 square miles and serve a population of about 420,000. In terms of incident activity, we responded to in the year 2024 about 48,000 calls for service. So we feel like we're a very active organization. We extinguish about 1,500 fires during the year. Most of our calls are medical aid calls, about 64% of those. We respond with an average response time of 5 minutes and 26 seconds. We conducted 2,200 inspections last year. That's by all personnel. We have dedicated inspection personnel, but we also, our fire companies do business inspections as well. And we conducted about 3,600 plan checks. We staff and operate a hazardous materials response team to respond to releases here in the county. It is a type 1 hazardous materials team, very high capabilities. That's certified by the state of California. And it really speaks to their capabilities in terms of the apparatus, the personnel, the equipment that's carried on the apparatus, and the training and education and certification of our folks. They are qualified in detection, monitoring. They have fully encapsulated entries, so they can be in some very hazardous environments, and they have a significant amount of training and education and tools to be able to mitigate the most dangerous of hazardous materials releases. We also staff a technical rescue team. It also is a Type 1 certified team with the state. Again, speaks to the capabilities and the personnel that are assigned to the unit. They are capable of confined space, high-angle rope rescue, and entrapments. We have a water rescue team that serves, that's assigned out of a couple of our stations in San Leandro and Emeryville, and we support the Port of Oakland, the airport, and the San Francisco Bay. And we also have wildland resources. We have In fact, we started a new fuel mitigation program this last year through a grant that we received, where we have hired and trained a number of our folks to be able to go out and perform fuel mitigation activities to try to improve upon or reduce the hazard levels that we have in our wildland areas. They've been a very successful team. They also have been trained in wildland firefighting, and they've been deployed in many parts of the state this last year. We also maintain wildland apparatus. It's apparatus. It's the little smaller engines, smaller water tank, set up high off the ground, a lot of ground clearance, four-wheel drive, and they're able to pump and drive at the same time. So we can keep up with the wildland fires. And we also have a couple of bulldozers that we operate. We're very much invested in the community. We have a special member of this particular CERT team that's probably my favorite Newark resident. A very active CERT program here in the city of Newark. We provide CPR classes, fire extinguishing classes. We provide a chipper program. We all love our 4th of July pancake breakfast that's been hosted at Station 27 for many years, and Santa in the Firehouse. We're currently working on a number of initiatives, and the chief of those is trying to make sure that we have the adequate staffing within our organization. It's always a challenge to make sure that we have the right personnel that are on the organization, but we currently have a fire academy that just started about 2 weeks ago. We've got 35 new firefighters that are going through that process right now. They are expected to, if they're all successful, and we're hoping that they are because we really need them. We've had a number of retirements in this last year, and we're forecasting a number this next year. They'll graduate in about June of this year. And it's the way that we staff, it's an interesting thing to me, is that we assign only the number of people that we need to fill all the positions that we staff on an individual day. So we staff about 104, 106 positions a day. That's the number of people that we have assigned to each one of the shifts. And because of that, anytime anyone is injured or sick or on vacation, we have to fill that space with overtime. And so we have folks that are working a lot of days in a row that are, several, 2 or 3 or 4 days in a row. And I think it's not healthy. I think we need to make sure that we can provide relief for our folks, and we need to add additional personnel to the organization. And so that's an effort that we are working on right now. We've asked our cities to support us in adding relief personnel to the organization so that we would have some folks that would be able to fill those spots on a regular basis. We are working very valiantly, I would say, on improving how we provide emergency medical services. Through a collection of work that we did with all the fire departments here in the county, we worked on the development of what I consider to be an excellent upgraded new EMS system that would provide a variety of programs and services that our community desires to ensure that they receive the services that they need for whatever the kind of call is. It included not only first responder ALS services or advanced life support services from a wide variety, 82 first responder units, but also included ambulance transport, both advanced life support and basic life support. It included pre-hospital, nurse navigation in our dispatch center, so you could call in and you could receive counsel through our 911 system. We propose to include first responder treatment on the scene and no transport. So we were going to put an advanced practitioner, like a nurse practitioner, on our units and be able to roll out and respond and provide the treatment there at the scene and not have to transport to an emergency room. And also a mental health first response unit. That's actually something that we were able to accomplish. But the other services, all collectively, we felt would have been the absolute best services could have been provided to our residents in all of our communities. But we were unsuccessful in receiving, being awarded the bid from the county EMS agency. So what we decided to do, or what we think we will be doing in the future, is we'll take advantage of those relationships that we've developed between all of our agencies. There's just incredible collaboration that's been going on between all the fire departments, and we've developed some partnerships in how we provide services, so really a seamless deliverer of services, and we will continue to add to the certifications that we have, and we'll add additional paramedics on our department, and we'll make sure that we watch over the new provider to make sure that they're providing services at the level that our residents and our communities deserve. We did put in service an advanced practitioner unit, and that is a unit that has a nurse practitioner and a firefighter, paramedic, I think it's an EMT, and a community member that responds to mental health calls. They respond either through dispatch of a local police department after I've done some screening on what type of call it is. They can be called out by our fire companies if they've been dispatched to a call and they determine that that's the kind of services that are needed. Or they drive through the community and just look to see if there's people that they think might need services or might need some assistance. We started on a pilot basis. It's just launched in November. It's been very successful. It's up in the city of San Leandro, and it's there because of their willingness to share in the expense of providing that new services. But it's being very successful. I believe that it's providing the right services to residents who have mental health and behavioral health issues. And we have connection with the behavioral health clinic that allows us to hand those patients off and even provide them with some additional services on a long-term basis. I mentioned the fuel mitigations program that we started this year. We also have really tried to focus significant attention on our employee health and wellness, and to provide services to our folks, counseling services and other resources that they might need to try to manage through some wellness issues that they may have. And so that's something that we've been very focused on and that we've initiated within the department. And we are currently in the process of building new fire stations. We've got some fire station design going. I'll show you a couple examples. And we are proposing to construct a new regional emergency communication center where we can invite other partners to join us, and that would be a law enforcement and fire and EMS dispatch center. This is a rendering of our new training center. We've been working on this for about 3 years, maybe longer. It seems like since I've got here. But the design is just about complete. The center, the training center includes about an 8,000 square foot classroom and a training facility, a 5-story drill tower, forcible entry props. We'll be able to provide in-service training for all of our firefighters, as well as recruit academy training for our new folks. It's about to start construction in April. It'll take us about 18 months to get it done, but desperately needed, and we're really looking forward to that new facility. We're also designing and preparing to construct new fire stations. This station is rendering from one of the San Lorenzo sites that we'll be building a new fire station on. We were able to receive funding through a ballot measure that passed back in 2020 for fire safety bond that would allow for us to replace outdated, undersized, and aged fire stations. And so we've really developed some expertise in the design and programming of fire stations, and we're preparing to start construction on 3 new fire stations this year, one in June, start in September, and one towards the end of the year. And this is an elevation of a station that would go in Palomares Hills and Castro Valley. The final comments I'll make tonight, or the final thing I'll talk about to all of you, is the development of our 10-year strategic plan. And I presented it to the council, I think, 2 years ago when we were developing it and when we completed it. It was a document or a process that we formed a committee of our members of our organization, a cross-section from all layers of our organization, And we did a lot of outreach to our stakeholders, including the supervisors, our mayors and our council members, our city managers, as well as our fire commissioners and our employees on getting information, input on what we should be doing, what we should be concerned about, and what kinds of things should go into our strategic plan. That plan has been established, and it's being implemented as we speak. A number of assignments have gone out to our chief level officers within the organization to carry out to complete some of the objectives and tasks that are contained within that. We set goals that include fiscal sustainability, an organization aligned with our community needs to make sure that we're providing the services that our communities really want and desire, and services to meet the mission. We're really proud of our strategic plan, and we really feel as though that it's really given us a blueprint of what the things that we need to do and what accomplishments we can expect if we follow the strategic planning process. And the last thing I want to say is we are proud to have had the opportunity to serve the city of Newark. We've served the city proudly since 2010. Our members consider it an honor and a privilege to be able to be a part of the community here and provide services. And I want to thank you all for the opportunity to present tonight. So thank you, Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief, very much for being here. The chief and I go way back. We were both in San Jose at the time. As I recall, Chief, we were sharing the old library down there on San Carlos Street. As I recall, you got the better side of the building with the shower and everything else. I was actually earmarked to have that until they said the fire chief is coming down, and guess what? You're being bumped. But I'm not going to hold that against you, Chief. I have forgotten.
I appreciate it, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Chief, I'm just going to open it up for, see if there's any members of the public that would like to comment on your presentation. Is there anybody here that would like to comment on the Chief's presentation? Chief, I think you've done an outstanding job for Alameda County. The only comment I'm going to make before I turn it over to my colleagues is that I don't think of you as Alameda County. I think of you as part of our team.
Thank you so much.
You're part of the Newark team.
Thank you.
And the fact that you wear Alameda County on it just simply means that you're part of a greater agency than just Newark alone. And I know that there was a lot of skepticism, as you may recall, back in 2010 when you first came on board to provide services to the resident of Newark. But in the years of service, you folks have done nothing but provide outstanding services to our community, and we welcome this partnership that we have moving forward. So those are my preliminary comments. I'll turn to my colleagues to see if you have questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Mayor.
Councilmember Jorgens.
Yeah, I want to echo your comments. In the community, I've only heard good things about the services that Alameda County Fire Department's, provides for Newark residents. So I do want to thank you for that. Just one brief question. On one of the slides, it looks like engine 27 has, significantly less calls than the two other engines. Any reason for that, or?
I think it's just its location and the activity level within that area. And there is some, industrial uses in that district, and I think that that probably keeps the call volume a little lower because there's not, live-in activity, or there's not residents that live there on a regular basis. That's my assessment.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yes, Vice Mayor Little.
So I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you so much for coming out. I'm a huge fan of you guys at a different level. And so I have just three quick questions. One of the questions was, what percentage would you say in Newark are the calls commercial versus residential?
I don't know that I would be able to, I would say that most of them are residential. I'd say probably more than 70%, maybe more than that.
Okay. The second question, I saw that you had fires and you have the equipment and stuff like that. Does East Bay Park not have like a fire department as well, or do you guys work together? Like if there's something happening in Don Edwards, or if there's something happening, kind of who plays the role if there's a fire that happens in a regional park?
East Bay Park does have some fire resources at some of their parks, not all of them. And if there's a fire on their facility, they may request us. It's a mutual aid company, but they don't respond outside of those parks. And so we provide assistance, but otherwise, all around the parks, we provide the services.
Okay, my last question. So I noticed that you said you guys were short-staffed and you're looking to bring in some new people and stuff like that. Have you guys reached out to Mission College and their fire program?
We reach out to Mission College, Ohlone College, we reach out to Chabot. We try to tap into all the community colleges and develop partnerships that would maybe funnel some of the students that they have in, because we love having folks that have some prior fire training and haven't gone through perhaps a recruit academy provided by a community college. And so, yeah, we have great relationships with all of them.
I work at Mission College.
You
so I'm happy to, but you need help there. I'm happy to go talk. I have a meeting with them tomorrow, fire department,
Okay.
so I'll talk to them. What is the rule, just out of curiosity, people who've been previously incarcerated, is there any rules so that they can or can't work in the fire industry?
I think the law changed, was established this last year that allows for folks that were previously incarcerated to be able to become firefighters. And many fire departments have actually hired on some folks that had been previously incarcerated. The problem was that they needed to be EMTs, and they couldn't be an EMT if they had been incarcerated. And so the law's been changed to allow for that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Councilmember Grindal.
I'm sorry. Thank you so much for that very detailed presentation. I personally, and I'm sure the rest of the council really appreciates the detailed numbers and the tracking. So I really appreciate all that, and really excellent presentation. And of course, all that the firefighters do for our community, we greatly appreciate it. I do have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
One, forgive me if I make a mistake. You can correct me, but
Okay.
I've heard some talk of Union City having browned out one of their stations. I was wondering if that's true, and if so, does it have an impact on the service provided from Newark stations?
So it is true, not browned out, but actually shut down the operation of a fire station right on the border of Union City and Fremont. It's called Station 30. It was decommissioned, I think, in January of 2020. The impact that it has is primarily, I would say, to the city of Union City because of, it's removed a resource in a very busy operation. And so I think there are calls that should be responded to quicker that aren't, because maybe the company that's in that closest area is not available, and so someone from further away needs to come. So I think that the primary impact is to the city of Union City, but there is impact here in Newark because there is a auto aid relationship, if you will. We're the same family. And so being able to provide support and assistance to each other is really a critical function here. We have essentially in this whole battalion 6 companies, 4 engines and 2 trucks. And a structure fire will suck all of that up in a minute. And so additional resources would be greatly, very beneficial to the operation. That 7th company really would have been able to provide some additional capacity for those kinds of times, not only for that incident, but also for subsequent incidents that occur after that. So what happens now is we draw from the rest of our operation in other parts of the county. And we try to work with our neighbors. Fremont has resources that they may be able to allow us to use. And on a mutual aid basis, there are some agreements that we could call in some Fremont units.
Thank you for that detailed answer. I appreciate it. As you can probably imagine, we're concerned about the impact might be happening, what another city's decisions might be having on our community. So I really appreciate that direct and complete answer. What is with the relief personnel? I would think that it would cut back on overtime. So in addition to providing maybe a better work-life balance for your firefighters, it might actually save some money if you had at least a few positions overhired or relief personnel. Is my assumption correct, or can you correct me?
It would save money when it comes to overtime. We would have full-time positions or full-time firefighters that would be able to fill some of those spots. I think, though, that in fact I'm sure that an equal cost of a full-time firefighter and the same amount of hours of overtime are a little less than are a full-time firefighter. But in my mind, the value is to be able to provide some relief for folks, not having worked so many hours in a row or consecutive hours, and also to be able to provide additional capacity within our system.
Thank you. And I have one more question or comment. The advanced practitioner unit sounds like a very interesting and excellent program. We all, as citizens, see people on the street that obviously need help, that need care. So the fact that you've sort of tailored a service to provide, I understand it's not in Newark at the moment, but I personally, and I'm sure the rest of the council would love to see continuing updates on how that's working.
Yes, sir.
Because we really see people who are suffering and having a tailored response so they can be getting help sounds like a great program. So
Well, thank you very much.
I'd love to see some numbers on how that works in the future. So that's all my questions.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'll just make one comment regarding Councilmember Grindal. Time matters.
It does.
When people call
It
911,
does.
time matters.
Yes.
And I think, Chief, you indicated that the average call response time is a little over 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
And if you're dealing with a medical issue, time is of the essence. And there was not a lot of conversation between the city of Newark and the city of Union City when that fire station decided to close in terms of what its possible impacts would be to neighboring cities of Fremont
Right.
and Newark. And with a new city council in Union City, has there been discussions about possibly reestablishing that fire station?
There have not been any discussions about reopening that fire station. There have been discussions about perhaps adding some additional resources in the operation that would help to add some additional capacity. And you're absolutely right, Mayor. Seconds do matter. And being able to have companies available when there's a need and close to the location that they're responding to is, to me, critical. And so I'm hoping that we're able to move forward there with some additional resources. But we haven't talked at all about reopening the station.
Excellent. Councilman Contancio.
Thank you. I did have a question, but first I wanted to say thank you so much for not only presenting, but also being so open to the community and contributing to the small town feel as well. So I have been able to attend the pancake breakfast that happens annually, as well as the Santa at the station with the toy drive. And so those are really amazing events for the families in the community. I did have a question. It's more of curiosity for high school students that might be interested in doing, let's say, an internship. Is that too young for the programs that you would offer?
I think our reserves are about 18. Yeah. So we do have a reserve program where we can get folks involved in, being connected to the organization, receiving some training, helping us with outreach kinds of events. That's about the earliest that we have. We do accept interns into our office during the summer through a couple of programs. So that might be an opportunity where we could, bring in some high school students. They're all high schoolers that we have that go through our intern program that we have with the county.
Great, wonderful, thank you.
So, Chief, I just have a couple comments and a couple questions. First of all, huge thanks to Local 55 for supporting our Measure LL.
Absolutely.
Which is a modest increase in our transient occupancy tax.
Yes, sir.
We anticipate receiving anywhere from $2.3 to $2.7 million annually. And we've made a commitment as part of this council to replace 2 old, aged fire stations in our city. And that money will go a long way to help us accomplish that. Because these are folks
That's really
that
awesome.
serve our community, put their life on the line every day. They should live in accommodations that merit their contributions to our community. You mentioned, Chief, the bond measure that you're utilizing to help pay for some new fire stations, if I heard correctly.
Yes, sir.
Is there an opportunity for the city of Newark to participate in some of those bond proceeds as we move forward with looking at 2 new fire stations here in Newark? Or is that time period, are those funds already committed?
2 things. The funds are committed, but it was a ballot measure that was only in the unincorporated areas of Alameda County. And so that's who voted on it, and that's where the benefit will go.
Okay. And I know that we've been looking at the drawings and renditions for the fire station in Castro Valley, and we're certainly going to capitalize as we move forward on trying to do what, some of the yeoman's work that's already been done up front as we look forward to doing that here in our great city. I want to say, Chief, I had the opportunity to witness firsthand members of your department. I was walking home from church on a Sunday, and I saw a single-family dwelling fire right there on Thornton Avenue. I was the first one on site. And immediately the police department pulled up to see what they could do to make sure that people got out of the building. But soon thereafter, the fire department showed up in force. And I actually watched them in action, the coordinated effort. Everybody had a role to play. Everybody knew what their role was, and they performed it. The only way I would describe it, they were outstanding.
Thank you, sir.
It's not often we actually come across a situation like that as it's beginning, but I had the opportunity to watch them manage that situation, and real credit to your staff for what I thought was an outstanding effort that particular day.
Thank you, sir.
We enjoy, as Councilman Contancio mentioned, we're a smaller community, but you're here every year with the pancake breakfast. You're here every year with the Christmas celebration at the fire station. A little disappointed in my police department, if I can say that on the record. We did not arrest the Grinch this year. The Grinch did not get arrested this year. I was so disappointed. I was waiting for him to be cuffed and hauled away. So maybe next year we'll do what needs to be done to make sure that the Grinch pays for what they do to our community. So. Again, Chief, thank you for your presentation. You're always welcome here in Newark, and please extend to your staff our appreciation for the hard work all the men and women do day in and day out. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next item is on the agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for folks to comment on items that are not on the agenda this evening. And, I just want to remind my council colleagues as we deal with public comments, whether it be now or in the future, we can't take action on public comments. These are not items that, I'm sorry? No, that one's been postponed till February the 13th. Is that correct, Mr. Ribadin?
That's correct.
Thank you. So I just want to remind my colleagues that as folks make public comments, and generally there are issues that are important to them and to our community, and we certainly recognize that, and we're certainly appreciative when folks come in, speak to us under the public comment section. But we need to remind ourselves, these are folks that we haven't agendized these items, we really shouldn't comment and cannot comment, and really should just hear what the folks have to say and appreciate that they're coming here to speak. So is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak under public comment? Please come forward and state your name, please. And just as Ed is setting that up, just again, a reminder that these may be items that folks want to comment on that may come to us in the future. So we cannot comment on their presentation or give a viewpoint on the presentation, because we want to make sure that when the item does come before the city council, that we're open to all ideas and all issues that are presented to us that night. Are you Laura?
I'm Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Yes. Hi. Good
Welcome.
evening. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Tough presentation to follow, but I am Laura with Save the Bay. And I'm here tonight to share some of the work our nonprofit organization has been doing to look at sea level rise in the Bay Area and related flooding. We've developed a tool for local governments to figure out how to deal with that immense issue at the local city level. So I'm here to present what we've been working on for Newark. And Save the Bay, just for context, we are a regional environmental organization with about a 60-year history in the Bay Area, but we really care a lot about the Bay as an ecosystem, as a habitat, and also about the communities that live here. And that kind of explains why we are so interested in sea level rise as a climate threat. So sea level rise is a storm cloud over the Bay Area. Newark is no exception. Some of what we stand to lose to flooding is listed on this side. The map on the right is actually taken from the Bay Conservation Development Commission. They mapped out a high projection for sea level rise by 2100, so this would be like the extreme scenario. There are many scenarios in between, but it is basically meant to illustrate all the things we stand to lose from flooding if we don't act. Just a glimpse is, a lot of transportation infrastructure, a lot of habitat, a lot of public and private property, critical emergency service locations, power plants, things like that. And that is why sea level rise is considered by BCDC a more than $100 billion problem in the Bay Area. Save the Bay has focused much of our sea level rise research on key hotspots, cities like Newark that are very vulnerable to flooding caused by sea level rise, but that also have opportunities to protect themselves, where we can take local action to make a difference on this threat. So we've developed a report card for cities like Newark that highlights actions that bodies like this council can take to boost flood resilience for the community. The goal with our report card is simple: help cities pass policies at the local level that protect people, property, and the environment. So we checked out 52 policies. Those are policies that we analyzed, that local governments could take throughout the Bay Area, and Newark scored 13 out of 52 possible points. And these points speak to Newark's vulnerability and then the actions that the city has already taken to prepare that are good. The main vulnerabilities in the city stem from a component of sea level rise called groundwater rise, which is a growing issue that I'll talk about in a second. But really what there is to take away here of the city's score of 13 refers to good actions, things like hiring a consultant to actually plan for the future and create a sea level rise vulnerability assessment. And then there's also about 40-some points worth of room for improvement to protect the community. And I will say that, including the other cities that we studied, cities like East Palo Alto, Burlingame, cities aren't scoring high. So this isn't meant to be critical. This is meant to highlight that generally in the Bay Area, we are unprepared for sea level rise. So I wanted to add a quick note about groundwater rise specifically, since that, from a climate science perspective, is a real topic of interest here, and from a community perspective is already causing flooding. By 2100, Newark faces flooding from both sea level rise, rising groundwater. Also, of course, more severe storms will add to that problem. And groundwater rise occurs when seawater pushes inland and it causes shallow freshwater stored in the soil to rise to the surface. That's what we call emergent. And that floods roads, buildings, and infrastructure where people don't necessarily expect to see flooding. It's not necessarily right along the shoreline. And the impact, if you run models in Newark, is very, very significant. Shallow groundwater is part of the reason that Newark already experiences localized flooding during heavy rains. When we look to our regional authority on shoreline planning, that's BCDC, we see areas in Newark where groundwater is just beneath the surface or emergent, and these maps highlight locations that are at risk of flooding. And so Save the Bay has really looked at these extreme vulnerabilities, and we'd love to work with the Public Works Department and any staff working on this issue, the City Council, to offer suggested policies about dealing with flood resilience. And then my colleague, Amy Beth Willis, is going to do her own presentation on an issue that will be upcoming to this council that relates to our scorecard. Thanks.
Hey, Laura, be kind enough if you would share your PowerPoint presentation with the city clerk if you haven't already done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am, please come forward. I'm guessing you're Amy Beth.
Yes.
Hi,
good
Amy
evening,
Beth.
Council. Nice to see you all.
You have to be a smart mayor when it comes to these
My name
situations.
is on the slide, so you put two and two together. Wonderful. So good evening. So yes, my time has started. When we made our scorecard, we found that one of the main ways and cost-effective ways the city can do to avoid future flooding is to restore and protect its wetlands. Functioning wetlands, which here in the Bay are called tidal marsh and mudflats, they already surround a lot of Newark, and they're amazing buffers from sea level rise. So this is a picture of such wetlands. They provide this amazing kind of sponge-like barrier to rising seas. They also sequester carbon, so contributing to mitigate the crisis and filter pollutants. They offer much longer-term resilience than traditional levees or seawalls. And so a second recommended policy for Newark we have is to create zoning overlay zones, and that means mapping out areas likely to flood and establishing building standards so that development are safe from future flooding. And so I want to mention tonight, knowing that it will be on a future agenda, the Maori Village development proposal. And when we assessed this project, we found that it really works against our main two recommendations for the city of Newark because it would build housing on an area that could be restored to tidal marsh wetlands. It is historic baylands, but it also would put the residents who would live there at risk to flooding, if we go back to the maps that Laura showed. And related services at risk of flooding. We know that building standards would not render this project safe in the long term, since needed services like water, sewer lines, and emergency roads would not be safe from flooding. So, if we see on this slide, Save the Bay is concerned about Newark and many other cities in the Bay Area that might try to develop on historic baylands while the Bay continues to rise. A decision like this is like walking into a rainstorm while our umbrella is actively shrinking. And so we should be cherishing the protection and habitat that wetlands provide and working to restore more areas. And so as repeating what Laura said, Save the Bay would really like to work with you all to enact our flood resilience recommendations related to the Maori Village project and beyond. We understand that making smart decisions around sea level rise will be difficult and sometimes overwhelming. However, the New York City Council would honor the community and the environment by making these types of tough decisions now. And also, if Newark can prioritize building flood resilience now, the city will be able to take advantage of competitive funding sources from the state. And these sources often prioritize nature-based solutions such as restoring and protecting wetlands. And so in closing, we would be happy to provide at a later date more details on our report card and discuss how Newark can move forward in a way that protects the community and the Bay. Thank you so much.
And a similar request, Amy Beth, if you'd be kind enough to share the
Absolutely.
PowerPoint with the city
Yes,
clerk, that'd be
thank
greatly
you.
appreciated. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comment on items that are not on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar consists of the following items: the approval of audited demands. Let me ask first, staff or colleagues, any items you want to pull from the consent calendar? I'll come back to the city manager. The consent calendar is the approval of the audited demands, the approval of the January 9, 2025 minutes, adopt resolution number 3 to approve an amendment to the contractual services agreement with the Urban Planning Partners for on-call planning services, and for accept the annual comprehensive financial report, ACFR, for the period of ending June 30, 2024. City Manager, was there any item you wanted to pull from the consent calendar?
Not this evening.
Great, council's not pulled any. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment or have any item pulled from the consent calendar? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
By Councilmember Jorgens,
I'll second.
by Councilmember Grindal. Please vote. That passes unanimously with 5 ayes. There are no public hearings tonight. The only matter left for us to consider is under city council matters. And this was an item that was brought up last month, and you all had an opportunity to review the staff report. There was a recommendation made by Councilmember Grindal that the council consider moving the recess, currently August, to July. Staff really has not come forward with any recommendation because ultimately at the end of the day, this is a council decision. You all had the opportunity to review the staff report because there are a number of committees and commissions that do take August off as well. So with that in mind, I would ask the city attorney a couple questions before we begin this conversation. City attorney, the council members are allowed to attend council meetings from a remote location. What's the rules and regulations surrounding that process?
Yeah, certainly, Mayor. In the traditional rules, members of the city council can participate as long as they notice their location, it's on the agenda, and it's made publicly accessible. So as long as we know by the time of the agenda publication, we can work with the city clerk to make sure that location is noticed. There's no video requirement, so it could be on a phone. Again, members of the public do have to be allowed to participate and give public comment from that location. And it has to be made accessible to people who want to participate. There are additionally some rules under limited circumstances where if a council member is sick or otherwise unable to attend, if they have an emergency, physical emergency, or a childcare need, they can participate remotely a limited number of times, and they don't have to notice their location on the agenda.
And in fact, council members, if they choose to do so, could actually attend a meeting from Europe, because as I recall, last year we had a council member that was prepared to attend from Portugal. There's no limitations as to where a council member can check in to a council meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mayor, with the only caveat being that a majority of the council has to participate from a location within the jurisdiction of the city. So you couldn't have 3 council members participate from outside of the city boundaries.
So if a council member wants to go to Italy, for example, then the other council members should be able to join that council member in Italy and just simply hold the meeting entirely remotely. Would that be?
I wish. Yeah.
I wish.
And us too.
In addition, we only have 2 meetings in July, 2 meetings in August. Council members occasionally will miss meetings, as you mentioned, illness, things of that nature. Is there a number of meetings that council members can miss before it becomes an issue for the other council to have to consider?
Yes, Mayor. So under state law, if a council member goes more than 60 consecutive days between regular council meetings, then they potentially do vacate their seat unless the council excuses the absence. So, with the council recess, a couple of days on each end, it's, whatever month it is, you're looking at between regular meetings, probably about 45 days.
So colleagues, before we get into the conversation, are there any other clarifying questions that folks might have on this issue before we get into the discussion? Okay, so historically, we, the city of Newark, have taken off the month of August. Again, from a staffing perspective, it does not pose any issues for the staff, whether it be July or August. So, Councilmember Grindal, you raised the issue. I'll turn the issue over to you for discussion.
Thank you. Yes, so given that school schedules have changed since this city's been taking this time off, and given that we have a number of council members who are educators and council members who are parents and grandparents, I thought that the taking the August off was a bit of an artifact of a past approach. So I wanted to bring it forward. Obviously, if I really just wanted to, I think it would be more modern to make it a July exit, but if the council doesn't agree, that is perfectly fine with me.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Jorgens.
Yeah, this is something I've got a couple concerns with. The first one being just as an artifact of the past. I'm not sure that's the case as much. I mean, when I was a Newark Unified student, which wasn't that long ago, but was a number of years ago, I think it was my guess is it would have been pretty common for me to go to school on the fourth Thursday. So while the school's calendar has switched quite a bit, it's really just the difference of one meeting. And I really worry about the length of our meetings that we would have to do in June. We've had more items of substance in July than September. That's traditionally, we have more items in July than September. I think it was 2022, it was 21 in July, 16 in September. 2023, so my numbers are going away, it was pretty similar. And then last year, we had our July was a little different because of our resignation. We were trying to shuffle things around, but even then it was still even. And if we had to move those items to June when we do our budget, that's going to make those meetings very long, which is going to, I think, reduce public participation. Because it's tough to say, hey, we got a meeting at 7. If you've got an issue that you want to tell us about, if we're making them wait until 10 o'clock, that's not really an invitation. And then, I also worry, I do agree, I don't think it's, just because it's how we've always done it, that's the best way to go. But I do worry about the change, how are we letting our community know about this change? And even broader, I think when we did the tobacco retail license ordinance last year, we had a lot of public comments from outside of our community. And those comments made me a lot smarter when I was, had to press the button to vote. Alameda County cities that take their recess in August. So if we want to get that wisdom from residents of other cities too, it's, if we're having meetings when it's not expected, I think we could lose out on that a little bit. And same for our community. If our community is expecting an August recess and then we're meeting in August, I think we're losing something that's important. So it's kind of my thoughts on it.
Thank you. Councilmember? Other council members' comments. Councilmember Contancio.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was trying to think about it too. So then I started thinking, okay, I am an educator and I'm an educator here in Newark. So in that way, it would be beneficial to me personally. But then when I started looking into the commitments that we also have as council members and the mayor and of the 11 appointments, seeing as how 6 out of the 11, which is actually majority, which is 54%, does actually meet in July. And then I started thinking about the Alameda County Board of Supervisors, and so finding that they also have the August recess, as well as California State Assembly and California State Senate. They have 18 days. It's interesting because they have 18 days in August that they have as recess, but they have 13 days in July. So because they go from July 18th to August 18th. However, majority of their days in recess is also in August. And we have Rokana, who represents our community on the federal government side. And they also take a August recess. And so then when I started thinking about that, then I started thinking about Newark, and I think that I believe that it could be beneficial to continue with the August recess for those reasons. As well as the fact that in July, we also have a big fundraiser for the fireworks that happens in Newark, as well as we have this Newark pancake breakfast that's by the firefighters. So typically I am here in July.
Thank you for your comments. Vice Mayor, comments? Okay, we can take a motion and take a vote, or your preference, Councilmember Grindal?
I would like to move to change our recess to July.
Okay, is there a second?
I second it.
By the Vice Mayor. Please vote. The vote will be, if you vote yes, obviously we're voting then to move it from August to July. If you vote no, we leave it at August. Okay, the reason I make that clear is I've been here before and it wasn't always understood. So thank you for that. So let's go ahead and vote. Everybody voted? And that passes, that does not pass on a 2-3 vote. Okay. City Manager.
Yes, good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. 3 items briefly this evening. First 2 announcements relate to rec events. On Friday, February 7th, Recreation Department will be hosting a family fun run at Lakeshore Park from 4:30 to 6 p.m. The public is welcome to meet at the boathouse in pajama. This theme is pajama, so you can walk or run around the lake. Pre-registration is required, and more information is contained on our website. And then secondly, another recreation announcement. We do have new open gym activities occurring at Silliman Center starting in February. The public is welcome to stop by at the Silliman Center during select times for drop-in pickleball, badminton, and volleyball. So the courts will be set up for casual play with friends or for practice. and more information is also posted on our website. And then thirdly, our planning department is hosting a community meeting for a project that is currently under review. This is the Satellite Affordable Housing Associates Project, otherwise known as SAHA. They're a regional affordable housing provider. The community meeting is on Wednesday, January 29th from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at Newark Pavilion Hall number 3. During the community meeting, the developer will provide updates on the proposed 59-unit affordable housing project and gather feedback from the community. Staff invites all members of the public to attend and learn more about the project and provide feedback. The project is currently under review, and we anticipate this coming to the council at some point later this year.
Thank you.
That concludes my announcements this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Benoon. This is an opportunity for council comments. I'm going to start to my far left, Councilmember Contancio.
Yes, thank you. For public comment, I did want to mention that at Newark Memorial High School on February 4th, they do have an art night. So that means that they have students that are going to be selling their artwork and their food and any things that they create and make at the high school. Also on March 14th, which is a ways away, but you could still mark your calendars, they have a Hands Across Time and Space Assembly, which is at night, and they do invite the whole community to come as well. And what that means is it's actually a really big fundraiser for the school, but it also celebrates diversity in the different cultures. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager Benoon, do me a favor, and this would be my request, as we hear opportunities from my colleagues, whether it be February 4th, March 14th, if you could put those in the council notes, just as a reminder to us that these are opportunities that our colleagues raised as opportunities that we may want to attend. That would be helpful reminders to us, if that would be okay. Councilmember Jorgens. Nothing from you this evening. Great. Councilmember Grindal.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to let the community know, if you're not already getting blasted with email, our Congressman Rokana is having a community meeting here in Newark at the middle school. It's going to be on Sunday, the 26th of this month, so that's just this Sunday, and he's starting at 12:30. So it'd be great for Newark residents to have a great turnout and hear from our congressman about the things he's trying to do to protect our rights in these difficult times. And I'm having, in addition, I wanted to let people know that I'm having my second coffee with a Councilmember Grindal event at a local Starbucks, February 15th at 10 a.m. at the Jarvis Starbucks. And anybody who wants to come stop by and just chat or talk about how the Super Bowl went or whatever, I'll be happy to hear from you. So there's that. So I have nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Grindal. Vice Mayor Little?
No, just working on 1,000 projects ready to go.
Thank God it's
Get
down to
everything up and
1,000. Last time I chatted with you was 100,000. I'm glad we're coming down within reason. No, keep up the good work. It's appreciated. A few items, folks. Thank you, Councilmember Grindal, for reminding folks that our congressman will be here this weekend, and I appreciate your attendance at that event. I know a number of you will be there. AVA, which used to be East Bay Community Energy, kicked off the year by issuing $22 million in bill credits to its customers. The millions in savings included an additional one-time 100 bill credit for income qualifying customers, further signaling the provider's commitment to broadening clean energy access. Additionally, all AVA residential customers began receiving an additional $8.82 credit, totaling $4.1 million. We're a member of AVA, and Councilmember Jorgens was our representative. I think Councilmember Contancio is our representative now. So a huge thanks to AVA for always recognizing the incredible cost of energy to all of our residents and taking the opportunity to return some of those funds back to our residents when the opportunity presents itself. So big thanks to AVA for that opportunity. Want to also take a moment, I saw a Facebook message today. Today was the 10th anniversary passing of a former police officer in the city of Newark, Officer Oscar Reyes. Mr. Reyes had over 20 years of experience working in public safety, working for the county for a number of years, and then transitioning over to the city of Newark for a number of years. And I saw on Facebook that he died, I think it was 10 years ago today, of cancer. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank him and his family for allowing him to serve our community, because it's been 10 years, but I'm sure there's many folks in the police department that still have fond memories of him. And I want the family to know, and the officers that serve us today to know that we remember Officer Reyes, and we are appreciative of the service that he provided to our community. And lastly, we are going to close tonight's meeting in memory of William Spinola. Mr. Spinola was a longtime Newark resident. William Spinola passed away in December. He was a Vietnam veteran. He earned an AA in engineering from Oakland City College and a BS in entomology from Syracuse University. Go Orange. He owned Newark Mechanical, an HVAC company, for many years. Mr. Spinola represented the city of Newark on the Alameda County Mosquito Abatement District from 1982 to 2015 for a total of 33 years. That's public service. He was known for his love of fast cars and fine dining. So we will adjourn this meeting in memory of Mr. Spinola, and we greatly appreciate his service to our community. Thank you, Vice Mayor. So the Vice Mayor's asked that we also recognize Alameda County Fire Department Fire Commissioner Apolinario, if I pronounce that correctly, Ario Visit. Evidently, he passed away, and his service is scheduled for tomorrow. We appreciate his service to our community and ask that we keep his family in our prayers. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. With that being said, we are adjourned.